Behind the scenes at Manchester City, the atmosphere is one of transition. The current season has not brought the same thrills that fans have become accustomed to in recent years, and now everything suggests that major decisions are about to be made. Amid the attempt to secure a spot in the next Champions League and still fighting for one last trophy in the FA Cup, the club's management is already starting to move behind the scenes. And the news goes beyond the pitch. One of the names that has been attracting the most attention at the moment is Bernardo Silva. Since he arrived at the Etihad Stadium, the Portuguese midfielder has become an essential piece in Guardiola's setup. With refined technique, tactical commitment, and an above-average footballing intelligence, he has become one of the symbols of the club's golden era. However, recently, rumors about a possible return to Benfica have gained strength once again. However, according to internal information that has emerged in recent days, this possibility seems distant, at least for now. A source close to the management stated that the player is calm in Manchester and has not had any formal conversation with Pep Guardiola or representatives from the Portuguese club about a potential transfer. The truth is that Bernardo and his family are already making plans to stay in the city for at least one more season. This does not mean that the desire to return to the club where it all began has disappeared. He himself has made it clear that, at some point, he dreams of wearing the red shirt again. But that moment has not yet arrived. At this moment, his priority is to continue contributing to Manchester City, and who knows, help the team end this season with a title and a top-4 finish in the Premier League. With Kevin De Bruyne's departure already signaled for the end of his contract, keeping names like Bernardo Silva has become even more vital for the balance of the squad. The management, which is considering adopting a cautious approach in the next transfer window, understands that experienced players who are deeply identified with the club could be key to navigating this phase of restructuring with the least impact possible. Speaking of Kevin De Bruyne, the Belgian situation is also stirring up the backstage. Despite maintaining a high level, especially in terms of his vision of the game and decision-making ability, the club has decided not to move forward with a renewal offer. The decision was met with some frustration by the player, who did not hide his disappointment at not even having a farewell conversation with the management. There was only a thank you and an open door for the end of the cycle. But anyone who thinks that the number 17 is considering retiring is mistaken. At 33, he still wants to play at a high level and is carefully evaluating his options. According to information released by journalist Fabrizio Romano, Major League Soccer's Chicago Fire has shown strong interest in the player. There has not been a concrete offer yet, but the American club intends to present a project that will attract De Bruyne both on and off the pitch. However, the decision will not be purely sporting. It will also involve personal aspects, such as quality of life and family structure. And there is another possibility on the radar: Inter Miami, managed by global football icons like Lionel Messi, Suarez, Busquets, and Jordi Alba, a star-studded squad that could shine even brighter with the addition of the Belgian playmaker. While De Bruyne assesses his next steps and Bernardo Silva is likely to stay, Manchester City continues to monitor the market. The search for strategic reinforcements has already begun, and one name that is attracting considerable attention is young left-back Milos Kerkez, currently at Bournemouth. At 21, he has been standing out for his speed, intensity, and crossing quality, characteristics that greatly appeal to Guardiola's coaching staff. With the left-back position being occupied on an improvised basis by Gvardiol and Nathan Ake, bringing in a natural player for the position is seen as a priority. Kerkez fits this profile well. He is young, already adapted to the pace of the Premier League, and has the kind of aggressive mentality that Guardiola values. His style is reminiscent of Andy Robertson at his peak, always advancing, looking for the byline, and providing width to the attacking play. Moreover, the arrival of a left-back with these characteristics could further unlock the potential of players like Phil Foden. Imagine the synergy on the left side of the pitch, with Kerkez charging down the flanks and Foden cutting inside with his skill and intelligence. The result could be a new offensive playing style for City, even more dynamic and unpredictable. Interest in the player is shared by clubs such as Liverpool and even Real Madrid. But Manchester City has an important trump card, their recent track record of developing talents under Guardiola's leadership. Kerkez, who wants to become a key player wherever he plays, may see Manchester as the ideal opportunity to grow and win major titles. Another name still on the citizens' radar is Xavi Simons, another young talent attracting attention from big European clubs. There is no concrete offer yet, but the interest is real. And with the attacking sector in need of light renewal, City may make space for fresh faces. Guardiola himself, in a recent interview after the win over Aston Villa, made it clear that he is not satisfied with the team's performance this season. Even with qualification for the Champions League on the horizon and the possibility of winning another FA Cup, he was direct in stating that these achievements do not save the year. For him, what really matters is consistency in the Premier League, and that consistency has not been seen in 2024-2025. According to the coach, it is natural for a team that has just had a historic season to experience a dip in form. Injuries, fatigue, lack of rhythm, and even psychological factors come into play. What is important now is to finish the campaign well, with dignity and focus, and to prepare the ground for a new cycle of triumphs. In this context, the FA Cup semi-final against Nottingham Forest presents a golden opportunity to end the year with something extra. The possibility of lifting a trophy and keeping the pride of the fans alive is at stake. This is the second time this season that City will go to Wembley after defeating Manchester United in the Community Shield in August. With the present still being defined and the future knocking at the door, Manchester City faces one of the most decisive off-seasons of the Guardiola era. The club, accustomed to dominating the English scene with authority and leaving its mark on European nights, now needs to reassess its priorities and adjust the gears to maintain its rhythm in the elite. The first step seems already outlined, ensuring a smooth transition between generations. Kevin De Bruyne's likely departure represents not only the end of a cycle, but also the beginning of a new phase. Over the years, the number 17 has not been just a brilliant player. He became one of the emotional and technical pillars of the locker room. His absence will require a collective response, not just on the field, but also in the competitive spirit that the Belgian represented. Bernardo Silva, with his versatility and quiet leadership, emerges as a key figure in this new context. His decision to stay, despite tempting offers and the emotional pull of Benfica, indicates that he still believes in the citizens' project. It is this kind of commitment that the board seeks to preserve. Bernardo may not be the charismatic leader who shouts during training or in interviews, but his influence is felt with every touch of the ball, with every tireless run on the field. At the same time, movements behind the scenes reveal that the planning already includes not just specific reinforcements, but also a small tactical reconfiguration. The search for players with specific characteristics shows that Guardiola intends, once again, to reinvent his team within his own concepts. The name Milos Kerkez, for example, represents more than just a reinforcement for a position of need. He symbolizes the search for an identity that was lost at times this season. Without a reliable left-back, City often had to improvise, limiting its attacking fluidity down the flank. The arrival of Kerkez could solve this structural issue and open new tactical alternatives for Guardiola. What's more interesting is that this type of signing directly aligns with the profile of players that the Spanish manager tends to value: young, technical, intense, and with room for development. Just like João Cancelo, who also arrived with little fanfare and ended up becoming a key player, Kerkez could find at City the ideal environment to reach his peak. This quiet reformulation extends to other areas of the field. With Nico O'Reilly seeking more minutes as a playmaker and the club monitoring names like Florian Wirtz and Morgan Gibbs-White, it's possible that Guardiola is planning to decentralize creation a bit, which for years has been almost monopolized by De Bruyne. The idea would be, perhaps, to better distribute offensive responsibilities and create a system less reliant on a single brain in the midfield, a more fluid system, where creativity is not confined to one player, but spreads across midfielders and wingers who know how to move, swap positions, and create numerical superiority. And all of this without losing the essence of positional play, Guardiola's trademark, but with specific adjustments to ensure freshness within the team. While these changes are being drawn up on paper on the field, City still has much to play for. The dramatic victory against Aston Villa, decided in the final minutes with decisive contributions from Doku and Matheus Nunes, brought momentary relief. It wasn't a brilliant display, but it was a victory with soul, the kind that shows that, even in a season below expectations, the fighting spirit is still alive. Guardiola acknowledged this in his interviews, highlighting the merit of the players and also the quality of the opponent. Aston Villa, by the way, has been one of the most consistent teams in European football in recent months, which made the 3 points even more valuable. But the coach was also honest when he said that winning the FA Cup or finishing in the top 4 doesn't change the fact that the season fell short. The standard of demand at City is different. What would have once been considered a good year is now seen as a step back, and this self-criticism, this constant search for excellence, is what keeps the club at the top. That's why the board knows they cannot afford to make mistakes in the next transfer window. Every signing, every renewal or departure will be evaluated meticulously. The goal is clear: to become protagonists once again in every competition, with a refreshed squad, but without losing the backbone that took City to the top of the world. The De Bruyne situation, by the way, will serve as a barometer for other similar decisions. Players like Kyle Walker and Ederson, for example, are also entering decisive contract phases and need to be evaluated carefully. It's not just about age or performance. It's about the impact these athletes can still have on and off the field. City's philosophy has always been to combine talent with a winning mentality. And to do that, it's necessary to maintain a balance between youth and experience, daring and control, renewal and continuity. In this context, the next season is shaping up to be the start of a new era. An era that may no longer include icons like De Bruyne, but which could see the emergence of new leaders, new protagonists, and perhaps a new way to captivate the fans. What is clear is that Manchester City does not just want to compete. It wants to win. It wants to dominate. And to do that, it knows it must act now. The transfer market will therefore be a real chessboard, and every move must be surgical. As Manchester City prepares for a future without Kevin De Bruyne, the question that hangs in the air is, who will be the new leader of this team? Guardiola has always been a master at shaping teams collectively, but in crucial moments, the absence of a standout figure in midfield can be felt. De Bruyne was more than just a player. He was the connecting point between defense and attack, the brain behind the team's dynamic movement. Now, without him, the build-up play will have to be done differently. In a scenario where Manchester City has already felt the pressure of lacking an immediate replacement, the team will have to reinvent its style of play. While the team still has talented players and a considerable bench, De Bruyne's absence will require others to step up. Bernardo Silva, as mentioned, could take on a more central role in this process, but he won't be the only one. Players like Phil Foden and Jack Grealish will also have the responsibility to step forward and offer creative solutions. Foden, with his dribbling ability and finishing power, has already shown he can shine in different offensive positions. But, without a doubt, he will need to be more consistent to fill the void left by the Belgian. Moreover, Guardiola himself will need to adjust his tactics to compensate for De Bruyne's departure. He is already known for his tactical flexibility, able to adapt his playing system according to the circumstances. The presence of several versatile players in the squad allows him to explore new approaches. Perhaps we will see more movement within the 4-3-3 or even experiments with a more dynamic midfield, where players like Rodri, who is key in ball recovery and game control, could take on greater offensive responsibility. Meanwhile, in the transfer market, City is keeping an eye on options that could bring not only technical quality, but also depth to the squad. The search for a replacement of De Bruyne's caliber may be a difficult task, as he is one of the most unique players in world football. However, City already has some options in mind. The focus will not only be on high-profile names, but also on young talents who could evolve under Guardiola's guidance and provide the team with the necessary versatility to continue competing at the highest level. Gradually, rumors about possible signings are gaining momentum. Xavi Simons, the young prodigy, has been named as a target for both City and Liverpool. His ability to play in various midfield positions, combined with his vision, could be an immediate solution for the team. However, it won't be easy to lure Simons, who is performing impressively in his current season. Another name emerging is Florian Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen, an attacking midfielder with great potential who is also being pursued by European giants. These players represent the future of Manchester City. They are not just acquisitions to replace someone, but pieces that will strengthen the team further for the upcoming season. They have the ability to integrate quickly into Guardiola's style of play and, at the same time, bring something new to the team, something necessary after De Bruyne's departure. However, it's clear that expectations for next season cannot only be based on the incoming names. Guardiola's philosophy will continue to be the foundation of everything, and his work will be crucial in ensuring the team remains competitive. Losing a player like De Bruyne is significant, but the true test of City's strength will be how the team responds to this change. The Catalan coach has more than enough experience to handle adversity, and his ability to turn teams into champions should never be underestimated. However, a crucial aspect of the team's renewal will be the ability to integrate the new acquisitions well with the team's pillars. Players like Erling Haaland, Phil Foden, Rodri, and even fullbacks João Cancelo, if kept in the squad, and Kyle Walker have an important role to play in shaping City's future. With their experience, the team will be able to support the young talents coming in, creating a fusion of youth and experience that has been key to Guardiola's success. And if you think City's movements stop there, you're mistaken. The transfer market can always surprise us. We know Guardiola doesn't sit still, and if there's an opportunity to bring in someone of quality, he certainly won't let it pass. The team's adaptation to the new scenario and its evolution will depend largely on how these reinforcements fit in and on Guardiola's leadership in shaping a new team that keeps City among the best in the world. Meanwhile, the season is far from over, and Manchester City has clear objectives ahead. The FA Cup race is still on, and securing a spot in the next Champions League is still in play. Each competition will be an opportunity to show that, even with the challenges and changes, City still has much to offer. Now, the big question remains in the air. With all these movements and challenges, what will Pep Guardiola's legacy at Manchester City be? And what can we expect from the team in the upcoming season? One thing is certain. City, with its stars and new talents, will continue fighting for titles, always striving for more. And that's what makes this club so fascinating to watch. And with that, we come to the end of our analysis of Manchester City's moves and updates. The season still has a lot ahead, but the club's future is being shaped with great attention. No matter who comes or goes, one thing is certain. City is always in pursuit of more success and more titles. Guardiola's work remains fundamental for keeping the team at the top, and what lies ahead will surely bring us more excitement. If you like the content, don't forget to leave your like to support the channel. And of course, if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe now to not miss any updates on Manchester City and everything happening in football. Let's follow every step of this incredible journey of the citizens together. A big hug, and see you in the next video.